Good evening. Please turn off your phones. Welcome to the November 1st, 2023 regular meeting of Eureka Springs Historic District Commission. I'm Dee Bright, Chair. Commissioners present tonight are Judy Holden, Peter Graham, Frank Green, and Christina Santamore is on her way, but we have a quorum without her for business. The Eureka Springs Historic District Commission is empowered by Eureka Springs Municipal Code to issue a certificate of appropriateness for alterations of exterior architectural features, demolition, and new construction within the boundaries of Eureka Springs Historic District. The HDC uses Eureka Springs Historic District guidelines and the U.S. Department of Interior standards for the rehabilitation of historic buildings as the basis of our decision. The Commission can take the following actions on an application: approval with modification, denial, or deferral for more information. Appeal of denial may be made to the Circuit Court. Public comments will be heard on each agenda item as it is called. Other public comments will be heard during the public comment period. Are there any changes or additions to tonight's agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as proposed.
Second.
Peter made the motion, Judy seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Approval of applications does not excuse the applicant's owner or agent from compliance with any other applicable codes, ordinances, or policies of the City of Eureka Springs. Old business, we have a level 2, 25 Cliff Valentine owner applicant replace 4 front windows. Do we have someone here? Okay. Do I have somebody to make a motion to...
Table it?
No, this has been tabled twice.
Oh, it has?
She's been here twice. I think we have everything we need.
I move that the Eureka Springs Historic District issue a certificate of appropriateness for the proposed work at 25 Cliff Street as proposed.
Second.
Okay. Do we have discussion? This is to replace the 4 front wooden windows. The staff recommends, I'm going to read what Glenna wrote, work does not meet SOIS or Eureka Springs guidelines. No documentation of advanced deterioration has been presented.
So with that being said, it hasn't gone through with like Jacob with the building code inspector to see if it needs to be taken down or not. Nothing has been
Yeah, and
gone through the protocol
she
yet.
recommends that we don't approve it.
Okay.
So is there any other discussion?
What year is that house built?
1960? And
It's
isn't-
not contributing.
It's not contributing.
Yeah, I'm just reading you
Yeah.
what your staff says.
Okay.
I'm not staff. We don't have staff here, so.
Because when I look at it, when it says that the SOIS for number 6, it's saying that it's for historic characters and properties, and if this is non-conforming and built in 1960, does it really apply to the SOIS? That's what I was, and why would they put in there if it's a non-contributing building?
I think we just turn it down and they can reapply. I mean,
It would help if someone was here to speak about it.
Yeah.
But
Well, all in favor say aye. Opposed, say no.
no.
No. Motion is denied 4-0. Okay, 23 Norris Street. Do we have someone here? We do, I know that. You want to introduce yourself and give us your address, please, sir?
I would be happy to. I'm Jack Moyer, here representing a cute little house on North Street that we bought and we'd like to save. And we have an opportunity to bring this house back. It's a non-conforming structure. We have been talking to AHPP, and there's an opportunity to bring this house back on as a contributing structure if we can remove the porch and make it more to appropriate during the time frame. So that's our
Okay.
plan.
Okay, just a moment. I'm going to have, Peter, will you do the
Yep.
reading the scope of the work and then the staff recommendation? Would you read both of those on all the applications tonight,
Sure,
please?
definitely. Okay, the scope of work, do you want me to start with the property address and owner and all that
Yes,
stuff? Okay.
yeah.
Property address is 23 North Street. It's a level 2 application. The property owner is Jack and Rachel Moyer. Its construction date is 1929, 1965. The scope of work is to remove sleeping porch, addition and replace with driveway and deck, roof line change, and parking space added. And then, do you want me to read the summary of facts that's presented on the application?
Yes, please.
Okay. 1, the original home was modified in 1960s. Number 2, sleeping porch on east side to be removed and replaced with a 338 square foot deck with wood floor and railing, C sheet 3.0 east elevation, and 10-foot by 15-foot parking space on block foundation. And then 3 is roof line to be returned to original scale and reshingled with slate-colored asphalt shingles.
Hold on just there. Is that correct, Jack?
Sounds good.
Okay. Now you can go ahead and read the staff recommendation.
Actually, I think there might be a little bit, that deck sounded a little bit large to me, but
10 by, well, let's see,
Yeah, I
10
think
by
that-
15, a little less?
Well, that's a parking space.
Oh,
He's
that's
talking about the
parking.
338.
Oh, 338 square feet?
yeah, I think the deck is 178 square feet. That's, the original deck was a little bit larger.
That would
Okay.
make sense, like 60 by 30 or something, 45 by 45.
Okay, so change that on our applications. Would you, 100 and what?
178 is what
Okay,
it was.
178. Okay.
So the staff recommendation is approval. It meets the SOIS and Eureka Springs guidelines.
And
I
you-
move that the Eureka Springs Historic District issue a certificate of appropriateness for the proposed work at 23 North Street based on the agreed upon summary of facts as presented.
Second.
Judy made the motion, Peter seconded. Do we have discussion and questions?
It's going to look good, Jack, when you're
Oh, yeah,
finished
we're
with
excited.
it.
I appreciate you trying to bring another building back in, up to
Yes.
code for it to be back into conforming, because that's always important, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Very important.
Thank you.
All those in favor say yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Aye, yes.
Well, I'm sorry. Three yes. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack. Okay. Our next one is 36 Spring Street. Oh. 36 Eureka Street, I'm sorry. I can't read. Is Craig Cox here? Okay. Let's see, let's look at it.
Okay, so the property address is 36 Eureka Street, level 2 application. It's Craig Cox is the property owner. It's constructed in 1889, and the scope of work is to add an antique fencing. And there's attached pictures in our application that shows the style that they're going with. It's like a white iron fencing. It looks like they're going to match that. Looks like summary effects as presented on the application is antique fencing and gates to be added to create a courtyard for pets. And it says the staff recommendation is the approval because it does meet the SOIS and Eureka Springs guidelines for these requirements. Chapter 4, Section 2, residential site feature ornamental iron fencing. As long as the scope, yep. And then that's everything for that one.
Okay, well,
We
let's
had
get
asked for more pictures.
a motion, let's to have
I
a-
move that the Eureka Springs Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the proposed work at 36 Eureka Street based upon the agreed summary of facts as presented.
Second.
So it looks like they added some extra photos. We requested
Yeah.
more.
Some
Velvet
extra,
style.
she thought if you didn't have enough pictures.
Here's another one.
Yeah, we got that one.
And this is a contributing property.
Yes.
Thank you.
Most everybody in town knows it as Penn Castle. Any discussions? Judy made the motion, Frank seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, 30 Council Street. Do we have someone present? State your name and address, please.
My name is Russell Pogue, and 30 Council Street is my address.
Okay, and Peter's going to read you the scope of work.
Okay, so the property address, 30 Council Street, property owner Russell Prog? This
Pogue.
Prog? Okay,
Yeah, it's like
Prog.
Pogue, but with the P.
Pogue, okay. It's, the scope of work is to add picket fence, and the summary of facts is presented on the application, install a 36-inch by 4-foot tall picket fence on the north side of the property. And it says staff recommendation approval, work meets SOIS and the Eureka Springs guidelines.
Okay,
Yeah, the only correction I would make there is a spaced picket fence. So it's just like the one I have in the back, same material. That's why I submitted that picture.
The one right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion so we can discuss?
I move that Eureka Springs Historic District issue a certificate of appropriateness for the work proposed at 30 Council Street.
Second.
Now discussion or questions?
So with it being built in 1900, even though the wood picket fence is appropriate, have you considered the ornamental wire fencing? Or is it to match the already pre-existing fencing?
No, the existing fence on the south side is like a horse wire. It's just a wire steel post fence. On the back side is that wood fence that I put up last year. And then now I'm putting one up on the north side. So when I bought the property in 2017, those were the existing fences that were there. There was nothing in the back really except some chain link that was between trees. And it didn't look good at all. So that's why I'm doing it.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions or discussions? Frank's still looking.
But to answer your question more directly, no, iron was never really an option for me. I know my neighbor to the south, they had originally some iron fencing along some park, and they looked into it, and the cost was so exorbitant that they went with an aluminum that looks like iron, you know. But from my understanding, that house had nothing.
Okay.
It was an old bunkhouse. It was, you know, everything was, it was 2 rooms only.
Okay, good to
And
know.
there was nothing there until they added the kitchen in we think the 30s.
Okay. Peter made the motion, Frank seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I should have said something. We didn't have a sign-up sheet. Kyle's ill, so we're not all organized every meeting. If there is somebody that wants to speak on one of these, please either stand up or something when the person comes and introduces, and then I know to let you talk before we vote. Okay, 5 Kings Highway, or do we have somebody here for that? Hi. State your name and address, please.
Elizabeth Carroll Wicker, Wicker Construction. My address is 58 County Road 3272, Berryville, Arkansas, 72616. And I'm here on behalf of the Buellers that own 5 Kings Highway.
Okay. Now Peter's going to read.
So the scope of work is the demolition of the carport, demolish the shed, and rear room addition, front porch addition. The summary of facts as presented for the application is: 1, demolish carport located on the west corner of the property. Support is deemed questionable. 2, demolish rusted shed on southwest corner of property. 3, rear room addition, 12 foot by 15 foot, approximately 168 square feet, siding to match. See before and after photos. See before and after photos. And then 4, front porch, 6 feet by 20 feet, approximately 120 square feet. See before and after photos. So attached in the application, it looks like they have attached a bunch of current pictures of the sheds that looked, they're deteriorated a bit, and then new plans of the additions along with material lists and more information like that.
And you're going to read.
Yep, and then so the staff recommendation is approval because it meets the SOIS and Eureka Springs guidelines. So I move that the Eureka Springs Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the proposed work at 5 Kings Highway. Kings Highway.
Do I have a second?
Second.
That's on both applications, right?
Yes, this is for a level 2 and a level 3. Is there anybody that wants to make a comment?
We did ask all the neighbors within 500.
Yes, but if
Eight
there's
of us.
somebody here tonight that wants to speak,
Yes.
okay? If you can step aside and let him come up and state his name and address, please.
I'm David Mall. I live at 7 Kings Highway next to the structure. I've been talking with James as he's been working on this house, which is really dilapidated. The route they're going is very positive. Removing the carport is going to be a great improvement to the way the house looks from the street. So, and as mentioned, it is very questionable how the carport structure is. It's going to bring the house back to look more like it did when it was built, bring it back more into its time period, remove that. I can say on this shed that they want to remove in the back, it is a rusty mess and it needs to go. And so I think everything that they're requesting to be done is going to be very positive for the house. It's going to really improve how the house looks from the street. And this house is very noticeable from the street. So I think these are going to be very positive improvements. That's all I have.
Okay,
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
What are they going to use?
Do we already, did they already get an approval from the building code inspector for demolition of these properties? For the
Yes.
2 on there?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
perfect.
yes.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions? Peter made the motion, Judy seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we have 164 North Main. Do we have somebody?
You have to cut the door, fine. Yeah, that was the first thing they did.
State your name and,
Hello, my name is Daniel Ledbetter.
okay. And you're one, are you the designer or
I'm the contractor.
contractor? Okay. Because we've got Chris Bradley,
Yes, he was the
but
designer.
Okay, so you're taking, instead of Chris being here tonight, he's here.
What's his name again?
Daniel Ledbetter.
Ledbetter?
Yeah, Ledbetter. Okay. Peter, will you read the scope,
So the
please?
property we were discussing is 164 North Main Street. It's a level 3 application. The property owner is Phyllis Jean Plumley. It was constructed in 1986. The scope of work is the addition to the rear second floor. Summaries of facts as presented on the application is 1, addition of bathroom, bed nook, and small desk to second floor in the rear of the building. 2 is room addition will be approximately 6 feet by 22 feet, and the deck will be 8 feet by 16 feet. And number 3, all siding, windows, doors, roofs, trim, and paint to match existing building.
Is that
and-
correct?
That's correct.
That's
yeah.
correct. Okay. And then it looks like the staff recommendation is approval, and work meets the guidelines, Eureka Springs guidelines, and the U.S. Secretary of Interior standards.
Do I have a motion?
I move that the Eureka Springs Historic District Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the proposed work at 164 North Main Street based on the agreed upon summary of facts as presented.
A second.
Questions?
For the addition on the rear side of the building, how far away is it from the property line? Do you know?
I believe she has 4 lots there, so we're quite a bit away from any of the property lines. I think the rear of the building is, we planned it out to be about 12 to 15 feet away from her rear property line.
Okay, perfect. So it doesn't have to go in front of zoning and planning for for ordinance changes or anything like that? Okay.
Judy made the motion, Frank seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0. Our next one is 51 South Main, and this is to discuss an addition to a second story, just for discussion. And you want to come introduce yourself, Latigo?
Yeah, there's Glenna said to bring this up as a discussion, and also I want to discuss with the HDC before any other.
State your name and
Oh, sorry, I'm
address.
Latigo. Troyer, contractor, Ozark Construction.
Okay.
I'm here to discuss 51 South Main in addition to the second floor, making a second floor. There is a non-existing floor. The roof of the building has to be replaced, and it came into a planning. I think there's some plans, ideas. These are just small ideas that we came up with, and we feel like it's the best thing to do is come to the HDC to see if this is even a consideration before we go into designing like the historical aspects of the exterior of the building, or we just had a drawing made. Want to discuss the possibilities of doing a project like this caliber downtown. And so 51 South Main is where the Spring on Main is, the restaurant. So this drawing that you're viewing is the 2 buildings next to it. So that would be Tummy Ticklers and the Ladybug. And they would both receive an upper level, which would provide more space, more business area.
So just go across from like where the upper level is now on Spring on Main?
Yes.
Go straight across?
Yes, and there's a whole lot of things that need to be figured out, like engineering, architectural things, meeting HDC requirements. This isn't a discussion to just ask can we move forward in making this plan, or are we wasting our time? Is that too much to go past the,
I think myself, you would probably go to planning and zoning for that first. Have you been to planning and zoning?
this is Glenna's suggestion.
Yes.
Because, yes, this is a long process.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's so many more things we have to do. And yes, we'll go to planning and zoning, but I also need to talk to
Yeah.
y'all about us changing a downtown storefront, which when Ozark Construction did the Spring on Main building, 51 South Main,
We would-
everybody loved it because it was just horrific.
We could look at it as, does it fit in? Does it fit, that's what we look at.
I would like to make a quick comment on that, what you're just saying. Those two buildings that we would like to add an addition, those two buildings are the only ones downtown that don't have a second floor. And they do not fit the visual of downtown.
Because
So
we're not,
the drawing was made just to present to you. That's kind of where we would like to go with it. I
Just-
don't know if they included the original, sorry.
let me ask a question, let it go. Okay, so the second story that's already there, is this exactly like it is now, or is that new? The one that's
Okay.
already there?
Can I come over and look at that photo you have?
Here, yeah, here.
This one?
Are you talking about Spring on Main?
Just give you a whole packet. Yeah. Yeah,
There's nothing on the second floor.
here, this last page.
There isn't a second.
That's what we're looking at.
So this is the Spring
You- If you're going to stand here, you got to speak into this mic. But what I want,
Okay, so if you look
Right,
at
over here,
at
but there is
this
here.
drawing,
So basically, you want to add on, say, the first three windows.
so,
if you see this section right here, far to the left, that's the Spring on Main.
right,
Right.
The one to this, that's where Tummy Ticklers is,
right.
and that's where the
Ladybug.
Ladybug is.
Yeah.
So Tummy Ticklers and the Ladybug would have a second floor.
So he wants to build over those two structures.
Yeah.
And then, but the Spring on Main would stay the same level. And then, before we go into all of the designs and figuring out the engineering and everything, this is an idea, and that would be funded and done, not without any further approval from the HDC or engineering or the building inspector. It's just,
So what he needs to know from us that planning can't do is, do we think the design concept, or can we give suggestions to do a second story, or are we thinking our guidelines completely oppose a second?
Did we make a motion to discuss? We already did.
No, this
We
is
don't
just
have to.
flat a discussion.
Okay, so we can
This is
just
all-
talk
We're not
about it.
gonna vote
Okay,
or
so we
anything.
we could bring it up and just talk about it.
I
So
see.
it was constructed in 1978, so it's non-contributing.
75.
1975, so it's non-contributing. And so, and you're saying it's the only building downtown that doesn't have a second floor.
Which is,
Yeah,
Yep.
and so my only question, of course, like you said, is if you come before the board after you already have your designs and stuff, you're just gonna make sure it just cosmetically kind of looks like the buildings are already
will
there.
look
correct?
way better than it,
Yeah.
and it will be contributing to our
Yep.
downtown.
And it's
as
important.
opposed to what it is right now.
Definitely, and then it provides more shops and more business and helps locals, and that's very important. The only thing that because we only have a planar view, like next to Spring on Main, you know how there's that little courtyard? Is the second floor gonna come all the way out to the street level
the
to Spring?
sidewalk.
Or is it gonna
Yes.
have that little courtyard and then have a roof above that? How's it gonna?
We have so many different plans, kind of, and options, and that would come in more in the future. Right now, we just don't want to invest more into designing it and architects and engineers and figuring all of it out. When this is, y'all are like the first step. And nothing's going to happen other than we're going to go to make more drawings.
More
and
drawings, yeah.
More plans, and we'll probably be here so many times to make sure that the exterior siding in the courtyard stays, or if we could put a roof over something, what the roof designs are. We just need to do the first step. Can we
Well, I
make
think
drawings without it?
Yeah.
I think it fits into the neighborhood. And that's really what we are about, is does this design fit into the neighborhood and not disrupt
Right.
everything around it? I mean, because when we're sitting, well, we're not really across, but like the courthouse, that, and the parking lot is straight across there. So that's our neighborhood, and everything else is second story.
I don't think the commission's opposed to it. It's a great idea.
But we need more,
Yeah, he doesn't think the commission is opposed to it.
You're just gonna have to get it down to what you're gonna do and bring it to us.
Yeah.
We're here or I'm here on behalf of, it's not possible for us to get to the next level.
right.
Well,
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
very true.
Well, I think
Yeah,
it's a
I'm-
very good first step.
As long as,
Yeah.
like, it's,
You know.
as long as we can start designing and we'll come back in and we'll have approvals of everything along the whole entire spot. But this is kind of like the first idea that we all were like, hey, we should just definitely check with you.
And it is a non-contributing,
And it's rare that there
Structure.
can be any additional retail, commercial retail space
Downtown.
going downtown anyways. And I mean, we're trying to preserve historic town and we need business, and that encourages further business with more business, so.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't see a problem with the addition as proposed. Like you said, there's plenty of steps more that we have to go through, but I don't have a direct proposal.
Awesome. And this is just a discussion, so
right.
but I thank you for listening to this, and we're going to go to planning and all the other things, but thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Latigo, for even
Thanks.
considering to ask us. Okay. Consent agenda, level 1 and 2 projects that the city preservation officer believes to be in accordance with the design guidelines. Any commissioner or member of the public may move any consent agenda item to the regular agenda for discussion. We have one, level 1, 8 Kings Highway, Thomas, owner, applicant, add shutters. Administrative approvals are all things the Historic Preservation Officer has approved, and they are on our website. I will read them off just because we did have an issue the other day with maybe they weren't posted, so I want to be positive. What? Yeah, but he knows it was administrative, right? Right, Bob? I mean, you were the one, you're 8 Kings Highway, but you know it's administrative, so you're just sitting and watching, right? You were first on the consent agenda. Okay, let me read this administrative approvals real quick. 34 Elk, replace porch flooring with same material. 505 Spring, demo, replace chimney, same as existing. 30 Council, temporary mesh fencing. And 28 Prospect, temporary removal of bell tower. Oh, and while we're on there real quick, the St. James Church got approved to be rebuilt. Most of it will be administrative. They did move the bell out of the tower this morning. Now they've got to clean it and all, but they are making progress. But it was structurally sound to move on, so that's great for our town. Commissioner business, approval of minutes for October 18th. Was everybody here for October 18th?
I was absent.
Okay, so we can't vote on it. What about October 24th? Judy wasn't, so we can't vote on it. Let's look at August 29th. We need to just make, nobody was absent, so we can vote on that. I had said Christine Santamore was not at the meeting. She was at Zoom. That was the bad Zoom. We couldn't hear her most of the meeting and so forth, but she was present and apparently could hear us. So we just need to approve it that she was here. So do I have somebody to make a motion to approve August 29th as that Christine Santamore was present by Zoom?
Sure. I make what do I say? It's a decision. I make a decision that on August 29, 2023, Christine Santamore was present via Zoom and aware of the discussion and was able to cast votes as
You're making a motion.
a motion to approve it as proposed, presented.
Okay. And do I have a second? Okay, Peter made the motion, Frank seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0 for August 29th. And October 24th and October 18th will have to wait. Okay. Next meeting, November 15th. All level 3 applications due Thursday, November 2nd, which is tomorrow. Level 2 applications due Wednesday, November 8th. Agenda setting for November 15th. Does anyone have anything they want to put on there? Okay, public comments. Do we have anybody that has a public comment? Okay, commissioner comments. Frank?
No
Peter?
comments?
Judy?
No comments.
Kyle, get well soon. We miss you. Do we have an adjournment?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Frank made the motion. Peter seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Say no. Motion carries 4-0.